Jeremy, you're on with Objectively Dan and Matt.
I was hoping you guys would put me on today. They told me not to hang up. They'd tell me if the calls were not going to be answered. So I'm really happy to be on the show.
We don't have a ton of time, and I apologize for that, but seeing how long you were on hold, I wanted to make sure we tried to get to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have a really good defense, like a defensive style for defending theism.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you could throw any kind of question at me and I could defend theism.
Sure. What's the evidence? What is the evidence? What is the evidence that a God exists?
Okay, so what I usually talk with people about, because I deal with a lot of theists, and I think that they're kind of like led astray. So I think it's better to defend one true God than it is to defend a God.
So why is it that you said I could throw any question at you and it wouldn't be a problem, and the first question I throw at you is immediately deflected?
Well, to say that a God exists, have you heard of the God of what is it? Small spaces. It's kind of like a Neil deGrasse Tyson bit.
No.
It's the idea of a receding God, and I think that's what Yahweh means in the Bible. So basically, there are many gods in the Bible. There are like 10 names of God in the Bible, right?
Okay.
And each one has a very important meaning to society and to individuals. So like your first caller, there was someone who talked for like 45 minutes on one point, and he, I think he would have really benefited from this knowledge, that there are so many different definitions of God, and we just dismiss them all in our modern. You talked about it.
Yeah, it's almost as if God has existed in different constructs with different ideas over different periods of time. And is it coherent to everybody?
So often on the show, you'll talk about how people, like you're talking about Leviticus, and you say, well, that doesn't make any sense at all by modern standards. And people say, well, it changed. But what I think a better way to defend this point is that the authors have changed. The authors have changed over time, and we're totally disconnected. I don't even understand what those people were like.
Jeremy,
yes.
Why is it that I asked for what is the evidence to demonstrate that God exists, and you have come nowhere near that?
Well, because when I'm talking about the God of small spaces, I think that's the God that we believe in. And I don't want to say that you're a theist, but when you say that we should wait for evidence,
we don't believe in a God.
Okay. Well, God is a concept. So
stop, Jeremy. There are God concepts. Do you believe in an actual extant thinking agent entity God, or merely a God concept?
As far as an extant entity thinking God, yeah, I would say like kind of God on high, or like a Godhead within yourself, the Holy Spirit type of God. Yeah,
I don't know if that answered his question.
Why is it that you call in to say that you'd be so good at answering questions, and yet you have not answered? So the God that you are wanting to argue for, is it a thinking agent that exists independent of us?
Well, okay. From a mathematical perspective, you have to think in.
From a mathematical perspective. Your evidence plus your reasoning equals 0. That's from math.
From a mathematical perspective. I love that. I'm gonna start saying that if I don't know the immediate answer to something.